Welcome to another video.
This is the Technics RS-M222, or just the M222, 2 being the 2 tape decks. It's a dubbing deck. I couldn't find much information about this. This is a picture from the German catalog from 1983. It was also available in black and silver, and it was the only dubbing deck in that catalog, and whoever took the photo put the counter on 222. I got it on eBay very cheap, and it had some belt problems. There's a belt sticking out the top of this deck and a loose belt in there. So the first step was to fix all these loose belts. It's just was a lot of trouble to get down to it. So I got to get inside the cassette mechanism. As you can see here,
I think I know why the counter was set to 222, because that's the name of the thing.
That indicates this was made in 1982 November. You take that piece off, revealing the flywheel, which you got to get the flywheel off to get that belt, the big flat belt around, but there's actually 2 other belts on there. There is one of the other belts on the side there. There's actually 3.
Is there a secret record button on the...
We'll get to that. Removing the flywheel is essential to get the belts out of there. You see all those gears and cams too. Those are kind of how the soft touch controls work, I guess. I got to remove that top piece. You remove this clip, which reveals some other screws, which can be used to get this piece off, which you can get to that 3rd belt. It's just a pain to get to these belts. I don't know why they designed it this way, but there's 3 belts that have to be in the same motor spindle that have to be sort of positioned correctly and put back on. The big belt, I just kind of boiled it for about a minute in boiling water, then I sanded it and alcoholed it.
Alcohol, not like the drinkable alcohol.
Yes. So after putting it all back together, and did it work? Let's give it a test here. What do you think?
Why is it called Try or Cry?
Ooh, good question. We'll get to that in a minute.
Is it about someone trying to cry, fake cry?
No. Anyway, so as you can see, the tape was moving, but I'm not getting any sound. And then I remembered, there's this ground wire that was attached to the metal. So I hooked that up and...
Second week in the top 10, moving from 7 to number 5, Quiet Riot on American Top 40. For a second week, the most popular song in the land is by Lionel Richie, All Night Long.
So we got that one working. Let's try this other one. The belts are still on this other deck, but I haven't tried it yet, so we're going to try it, and here's what happens. Oops. I got to refer to the front plate, figure out the play button.
Play. 1, 2, 3. Move the wire over here.
And sound. Too slow.
Too slow. So why is this too slow? Well, look at this. Whoever owned this deck before me must have realized the belts were slipping off, and he put this piece of wire there. So there's a piece of wire. Let me zoom in a little so we can see this a little bit better. But it's a piece of wire that's actually acting as a speed governor, and there's a piece of solder at the top. And I guess the previous owner knew what was wrong, but he didn't really know how to fix it. So after we took off those wires and did the belt boiling process, let's see if that fixed it. Got to get it back together.
Which one is the play button?
Yeah, 3rd one. Yay, it works. So everything works and it sounds fine. That other little belt there is for the counter. I'm going to put that back together when I put the whole thing back together.
Let the music play on. Everybody sing, everybody sing.
That's pretty good. I mean, 99-cent tape deck. Now all I got to do is put it back together. Now let's talk about some interesting features about this tape deck. I mean, it doesn't seem like it's that interesting, but digging beneath the surface, there's some interesting stuff.
I can talk about the records.
Yeah. So, first of all, look at that little thing down there. You can see one deck. This is a dubbing deck, so one plays and one plays and records. But on that little tab there is covering up what appears to be a hidden record button. So there's a hidden button behind that front panel, and
so both sides are the same?
Well, they both have the same thing. And look, there's an erase head back there, but there's no need for an erase head because that deck doesn't record.
Maybe they pulled it off one of their other ones.
Yeah, I think that's not actually a real erase head. I think it's like a placeholder erase head, which is even weirder that they have a wire going to an erase head that doesn't do anything, because if you look at this erase head over here, you see it's got, you can tell it's got something in the middle of it. I would imagine that as they manufacture these things, they have just one thing, and then they just cover up certain buttons and things they don't use. Another thing that's interesting, these LEDs, which can be mounted on the front, and they use those head wires to have the tape type LEDs, which it indicates basically whether it's normal chrome or metal tape. So one feature mentioned in the manual is this peak hold on the level meter, and when you do record levels, you want to get as much volume onto the tape, and so with the levels swinging back and forth, you don't really know where the peaks are, I guess, and so they have these little dots that hold it. You can see the peak reset circuit there. They hold it for 2 additional seconds. You can kind of see to let you better judge the recording level. And another interesting thing is these soft touch controls. They're not quite fully computer controlled like that JVC deck I'm showing up there, and they're not manually controlled like that other JVC deck or like one of the piano key decks, but you actually just give it a little pressure and it causes one of those gears to slip into place. The output level is on one side only. Like if I take the tape, turn the output level down and play it out of that one, it's going to be loud.
Wait, can you play both tape decks at the same time?
No, you can't play both at the same time. I think the reason they do that is to allow you to mix in microphone into an existing recording. You noticed earlier this try or cry tape, and why do I have tape on there? It's an Amway tape.
You want us to sell Amway?
Amway was this like sales marketing thing. I don't know anything about it. It was apparently this Rich DeVos guy. I was Googling this just to see what was on the tape because I've erased it. He died in September 2018. Everybody always talked about it like it was a scam, but some people gave this tape to my parents or grandparents. They gave it to me. I taped over it.
And then erased it?
Yeah, I erased it, by taping over those things. They're Write Protect tabs. That's what we used to do to get
Where does the eraser?
To get blank tapes.
Where does the erased go? Where does the erased stuff go?
It just erases it. It wipes it out. It rearranges the magnetic particles. Do you know what dubbing means?
No.
Dubbing is copying a tape. So you have your pre-recorded tape your friend bought at the store. You stick it over there in tape deck number 1, and then you play it while you record it on tape deck number 2. That's why you have 2 tape decks in the same box, is because it makes copying tapes easier.
They do that on GVC?
The JVC one they have, yeah. So anyway, this sort of partially automates the dubbing. So you can get this one paused and ready to go. Then you go over here and hit record, and it'll automatically start the one playing.
So the friend, the one that you're borrowing, you can have it.
Yeah, you got to turn on dubbing, and then hit record, and you're recording. Recording from tape 1 to tape 2, making a copy of it. Yeah, and then you give this.
Copier.
Yeah, it's a copier, exactly. The record level affects the level of deck 1, so you can mix it in. If I had a microphone, I could talk into it as well. It also lets you hear the high-speed dubbing, which is interesting. It sounds like a chipmunk. Yeah. On a lot of tape decks, they just have a dubbing button. This one only automates part of it. And also, music search only exists on the playback deck. This one on the left, you hold down fast forward and rewind while it's playing, and you just get a little quick cue and review. On the right, you actually get full music search. So anyway, but of course, if they're stopped and you just do normal fast forward, that works on both of them. Now, I guess in conclusion, I don't
They
like.
almost look the same.
Well, the one on the bottom, it records on both sides. It has a lot more features. It's from the 90s. It has auto reverse. This was pretty good for 99 cents, I guess. I don't know if we'll keep it, but it's an interesting...
If you live in Memphis, come by a garage sale.
Yeah, okay.
And buy this thing.
Yeah, that's about it.
Well, that about does her. Wraps are all up.
What else you have to say?
That's about it. See you next time for another video. What's that, cowboy?